What's up, y'all, man? Today we're gonna be checking out secrets of the euro. Righty. We about to find out if the euro is better than the American dollar, man. I haven't heard that too much, but I also don't have too many foreign people in my life, so this gonna educate me. Let's do it.
In 2002, most European countries had their own independent currencies. France had the French franc, Italy had the Italian lira, and Finland had the Finnish marker, to name just a few. It made trade and travel a lot more complicated, as you needed to change your money for each different country, often incurring exchange rates, commissions and fees. What's more, there was often vast disparity between the values of each currency. Whilst the Italian lira banknote stretched all the way up to 500,000, the highest denomination French franc was only 500. So if you were visiting one from the other, it would be very difficult to gauge how much you were actually spending. In practice, it was a nightmare. The case for a shared common currency was therefore an obvious one, and it was an idea that had been talked about and was being worked towards for decades. Without getting into the precise history, the euro as we know it was first introduced for non-cash transactions on New Year's Day 1999, and then the first banknotes and coins on New Year's Day 2002. The only countries that did not adopt the currency were Denmark and the United Kingdom, although there are several other EU countries who don't yet meet the economic criteria, but will
Wow. Now, I gotta say, this is actually pretty shocking. I think it's genius. It's actually genius. And a lot of times I'm starting to notice, in a lot of ways, Europe feels like, almost like a United States in a sense of like the unity. Like it feels like they're united. And I kind of like that. A whole continent in a lot of ways feels so connected. Because we even saw a thing about trains and things like that, and train stations, and how they go through different countries smoothly. And I think that is so awesome, man.
Economic criteria, but will make the change once they do. And since those first banknotes were launched in 2002, they've just finished releasing a new and updated series, which this video is going to take a look at.
Wow.
Now, I'm not going to get into any of the pros and cons of the currency, or any of the economic arguments or considerations. Instead, I'm going to approach the euro purely as a banknote collector, as someone who likes shiny and colourful objects with a cool story, not as a critic of the currency itself. If you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. Now normally I'd go through and talk about each banknote individually, but with the euro it makes much more sense to talk about them collectively. These new notes are known as the Europa series, and they are very much a series, with each denomination just a slight variant on the overall design. Like the previous series, the notes have retained their size, colour and the theme of European architecture. The front of each denomination displays a window or doorway to represent openness and cooperation, whilst the reverse depicts a bridge, symbolising communication. The €5 sees a classical architecture style, the 10 Romanesque, the 20 Gothic, the 50 Renaissance, the 100 Baroque, and the 200 a 19th century iron and glass theme.
Yo, now you can't tell me that's not so cool, man. And even now, the simple part of him saying it shows openness, and then the bridge showing connectivity and stuff like that. You literally, I was just talking about that. You see that in the continent. You can see it all throughout the continent, and everything I'm hearing about it so far has shown that. And I think that is so awesome, man. I mean, this is pretty cool to see, man. You know, and I'll be honest, I had never even seen a euro. This is my first time ever even seeing what a euro looks like.
19th century iron and glass theme. The old 500 note had the theme of modern 20th century architecture, although has been discontinued and is slowly being removed from circulation. Importantly though, none of the specific doorways, windows or bridges shown are real. They're fictional designs, intended to represent each of the original members but without unfairly representing one more than the other. Also, like the previous series, the reverse of each note features a map of Europe, although this time including Malta and Cyprus, who have both since joined the Eurozone, as well as a tiny section right in the bottom left to show the Canary Islands and some of France's territories. But that's about it for the similarities. So what exactly has changed? Well, the denomination in the bottom left has been replaced by one in green colour changing ink, making it difficult to replicate. And on the 100 and 200 notes, it even contains tiny euro symbols. There's also a larger holographic strip on the right, this time containing an image of Europa, a figure from Greek mythology after whom the continent was named. Europa can also be seen in the watermark of each note, alongside the denomination and piece of architecture, although admittedly it does kind of resemble a kid's drawing. In terms of other security features, both series are fairly similar. Obviously, they all feature the Orion constellation, a group of 5 circles or donuts which can be detected by printers and computer software in order to prevent photocopying. This feature was included on banknotes in secret for many years, until a member of the public first detected it on a €10 note, hence the name and the fact that it sort of doesn't really resemble Orion. Under UV light, certain elements of the notes glow to indicate their authenticity, including the stars in the flag and the stars around the architecture.
Oh, that's fire. Now look, I don't know if the US dollar is like that, but that is pretty dang cool. And even just the fact that this one is so colorful, and now I just like the fact that it's so colorful and bright. And when I went to Italy, it was like that there as well. Like just walking around, there was so much color. And honestly, in the US, bro, everything is starting to become black, white, and gray. You know what I'm saying? So it's nice to see some color like this, you know? Another thing, why do they call it notes instead of dollars? Somebody gonna clown me for that, but I'm curious, man.
Yeah. As well as certain sections of the reverse. Tiny glowing flecks are also visible, something they purposely add into the paper, again to show their authenticity. But the new notes have added another really cool security feature in the form of these short diagonal lines on the edges of each note. If you fold the notes round to form a circle, they perfectly line up, indicating that the note is likely genuine, as counterfeiters can have difficulty being so precise with their printing. And these notes have introduced some microprint too, seen in the stars in the middle of the note. If you look extremely closely, you'll see the word Euro repeating in 3 different alphabets. Again, something that counterfeiters cannot achieve with inexpensive printers.
Yeah.
And what is probably my favourite hidden feature? Each note is secretly a flag of Europe in disguise. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's
However,
cool.
Having said all that, you'd be right to accuse these notes of being boring. They're deliberately plain and devoid of any personality. Europe is an exceptionally diverse continent with the finest architecture on the planet, and yet they've opted for fictional designs. But I do understand it. These banknotes are used by an ever-increasing number of countries, and they can't be seen to favour certain ones.
Yeah.
And where the banknotes fall short, the coins certainly deliver. The Euro coins are arguably the coolest and most collectible in the world. Each country has their own designs, and they can therefore be much more personal. The Colosseum features on the Italian 5 cents, for example, and the Brandenburg Gate on the German 10. And even some countries that aren't EU members have their own coins, such as San Marino and Vatican City. In total, there are more than 300 different designs across the different values and countries, making them an absolute dream for collectors.
Different designs?
They most certainly make up for the lack of variation on the banknotes.
Wow, so that's now that's another thing I'm curious about. Are they selling? Like, can you get some money for them? You know, if you find the right design or whatever, are some of them more rare than others and sell? Because like in the US, certain coins on eBay can go for over $100. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes even higher if it's rare. So I'm curious about that.
But if that's still not enough, there are some Euro banknotes that are decidedly more interesting.
Oh, what is that?
This is a €0, a souvenir note printed on real banknote paper, with real security features and authorised by the European Central Bank.
Oh.
It has a watermark, glows under UV light, and feels and looks exactly as you'd expect a real Euro to. And whilst this one features the atomium in Brussels, like the coins, there are literally hundreds of different designs. So whilst the Euros themselves might be slightly dull, that's necessary. They're the second most traded currency in the world, and represent such a vast population area. And though they might have sacrificed some infinitely more interesting notes in the process, we got some pretty cool coins out of it, and the Euro has undoubtedly made life a lot easier.
Wow, man. Hey, he did a great job explaining this one. There's a lot of counterfeit stuff in this, man. Banknotes. See, now look, I'm really curious why they call them banknotes and why they don't just say dollars. But yeah, this was awesome, man. There are a lot of counterfeit features. And I think the US is kind of like that too. But I've never really watched a video on the US dollar either. So I technically now I know more about the euro than I do the US dollar. So this was cool though, man. I actually really enjoyed this, man. And it'll be interesting to see how many more countries adopt this banknote over time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Man, awesome, man. Awesome. If you guys got some other info y'all want to give me, let me know in the comments. I'm out. Peace.